All right, we're going to do this real quick and easy, and this will get Muslims busted once and for all. This is Surah 2106 that we are reading, and we're going to read the Muhsin Khan translation. This is Surah 2106, and it says, "Whatever a verse do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring a better one or similar to it. Know you not that Allah is able to do all things." Now, let's go to sunnah.com. This is narrated by Aisha, and this is what Muhammad said. Allah's messenger heard a man reciting the Quran at night and said, "May Allah bestow his mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses, of such and such surahs, which I was caused to forget." Now the key word is caused. And we just read in Surah 2106 that Allah says in the Quran that if Muhammad ever forgot a verse or was ever caused to forget a verse, that it would be replaced with a better verse or a similar verse. Now, this is the problem. This creates a huge dilemma for Muslims. Okay? The claim that Muhammad is the final messenger, and it creates a huge problem for the claim that the Quran is preserved. Because as you see, Muhammad forgot a verse. It doesn't mention the verse that he forgot in his hadith, but it's clear that he forgot a verse. Now, Surah 2106 says that anything that he forgot, it would be replaced with something similar or better. But it doesn't say that he would be given the same verse that he forgot. So this creates a huge problem for the Muslims, because in this hadith, Muhammad says that he was reminded by a man who was reciting the Quran. He heard a man reciting the Quran, and he was reminded of a verse that he forgot. So Muhammad is proving that Surah 2106 is false. And that means that the Quran is false and that Muhammad is a false prophet, because he heard a man reciting something from the Quran, but it's the same thing that he forgot. He was reminded of something that the man that he heard was reciting. But Surah 2106 says that if he was caused to forget anything, that Allah would bring him something that was similar or better. But this is not what happened. Muhammad is saying it himself. He heard a man reciting the Quran, and he was reminded. But what does Surah 2106 say? That he would be given something, if he was caused to forget, the key word caused, that he would be given something similar or better. But the man who was reciting the Quran gave him the same thing. So this is a huge dilemma for Muslims, because they have to answer this question. If Surah 2106 is true, then for Surah 2106 to be true, Allah would have had to been the one to give Muhammad a better or similar verse. But clearly, it was a man reciting the Quran who reminded Muhammad of the same verse that he forgot. Because when you remind somebody of something, you reinsert into their mind something that they forgot. Remind means you inserted something in my mind which was the same thing that I forgot, not something similar or better like the Quran says would happen in Surah 2106. Because the man that was reciting the Quran, he's not a prophet. He was just reciting the Quran. So when Muhammad heard this, he heard something that he once knew before. Therefore, he said that, may Allah bestow his mercy on him as he has reminded me of something that he had heard before. But Surah 2106 says that Allah would bring something similar or better. Now, this is where the dilemma begins. Now the Muslims have to say, did the man give Muhammad something similar or better? Because if he didn't, that means Surah 2106 is not true. And if he did, that means that Muhammad is not the final messenger. Also, Surah 2106 says that Allah is supposed to be the one to bring the better or similar verse, not some man that Muhammad heard reciting the Quran. Here's another part of the dilemma. If the Muslims see they can't get out of this, because now they have to say, Brother Jacob is right. So if Muhammad heard this man reciting something different, similar, or better, and he received these new verses like Surah 2106 says, that means the man who Muhammad heard would become the new final messenger of Islam, because he would have said something that no other person had ever heard before. Because Surah 2106 says that Allah would bring something similar or better. So in order for Surah 2106 to be true, the Muslims will have to admit that Allah used this man that Muhammad heard as the final messenger to bring a similar or better verse that replaces the verse that Muhammad forgot. And that would make the man who Muhammad heard reciting the Quran the final messenger of Islam, because he would have brought something that Muhammad himself never heard, that Muhammad himself never received from Jibril, like Muslims claim, was the one who sent down the revelations to Muhammad. So this creates a huge dilemma for the Muslims. And another thing, they claim that the Quran is preserved. But how can they say that the Quran is preserved when clearly this hadith says that Muhammad forgot verses. And in order for Surah 2106 to be true, whatever he forgot would be replaced with something similar or better, but not the same. So now the question for the Muslims is, where is the verses that Muhammad forgot? Because those verses were a part of the Quran, the eternal, uncreated Quran. But Muhammad forgot those verses. So how can they claim that the Quran is preserved? And how can they say Surah 2:106 is true when Muhammad was reminded of the same thing like this hadith shows? It doesn't say he heard something similar or better. No, he just heard a man reciting the Quran. So this, all that I have explained to you, it puts an end to Islam. And this is why Kenny Bomer does not want me on his channel anymore. Because he is afraid of things like this that I bring up on the false prophet channel. So I want you all to take note of everything that I said, and you can use this on any Muslim and they will not be able to get out of this, because the hadith that I'm showing you is sahih, and the Quran backs up everything that I'm saying. So nothing that I am saying is of my opinion or my idea that I came up with out of nowhere. We went straight to the source, the hadith and Surah 2:106. And I want to leave y'all with that. This is the hugest, biggest, largest dilemma that Islam has to face. It's no way they can get out of this. What I showed you tonight proves that Surah 2:106 is not true. It proves that Muhammad is a false prophet. And any way the Muslims try to go with this, they will be in a dilemma. So I'll end with that. I want you all to tell me what you think in the comment section below. This is the final nail in the coffin for Islam. And this is Brother Jacob signing out.